I think we'll start. The admissions and letting people in seems to be slowing down a bit. So good morning, everybody, and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kathy Arocho Kelly, and I currently work at AHRC New York City, and I chair this Manhattan DD Council. So welcome, everybody. Good to see some new faces, some old faces back again. So welcome. We will start our meeting.
I will change it then going forward so that we'll do 12:30 to 1.
With announcements. So if you have an announcement to make of upcoming events or different new opportunities, please use your raise hand function and we'll go around and do announcements. Dylan?
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Dylan Wannen from AHRC New York City, sitting a couple floors up from Kathy. Our public information department is beginning its next round of family education workshops. We have an overview of camping and recreation programs on March 26th, understanding the life plan presented by our middle high school principal, Trudy Pines, on March 31st. And then multiple in-person open house events, primarily in Brooklyn, but those begin on Wednesday, April 8th. I'm going to post the link in the chat to our events page, and feel free to attend as you see fit. So thanks so much for having me, and looking forward to the rest of the meeting. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Dylan. Jay?
Good morning and happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. It's Jay Kleinman from LifeSpire. We have Manhattan Behavior Management and Parent Training that can be done either remotely or in person. And that's for parents with having behavioral issues in the home with their kids. So I will put all of my contact information in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Jay. Wendy?
Morning, everyone. Wendy DeLeon from Adapt Community Network. I just wanted to let you know we have funds available through family reimbursement for all 5 boroughs. Our application deadline this year is June 1st. We're trying to make sure that everyone hands in their application in time so that we then have time to properly review them, get back to you if anything is missing, and have you have enough time to get those documents to us so that we are keeping in line with the DDRO's deadline as well. So please do get those applications in. Don't wait to get $3,000 worth of stuff. Whatever you can get, just get those applications and receipts in. We also have funding available through our Doorways to Independence program, which is our home modification and repairs assistance program. That program has funding, interestingly, available in every borough but Manhattan at this time. But I know many of you support people in many different boroughs, so just please keep that in mind. We also have our older adults home modification program, 62 years of age or older, for the general public, right? You don't have to have OPWDD eligibility for that. Think your parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, yourselves, if you're 62 plus, live in the 5 boroughs and meet the financial requirement. And of course, we have all our regular programs as well, day habilitation services, community habilitation, clinical services, and more. I'll put all that information for you on the chat, so you can contact our Project Connect line or email us if you're interested in applying for any of our services. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. And welcome back, Ernie McNutt.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Ernie McNutt, and I'm here to let people know about a new service that I'm offering. So a little background, I worked at AHRC New York City for many years, and then I worked at Care Design CCO, but now I've gone out on my own because I have a passion for coaching, health and wellness, and I'm starting a health and wellness coaching business. Happy to partner with agencies, happy to talk to folks who are interested in learning more about improving making lifestyle changes to their health and wellness, which can go a long way to address chronic conditions and medical conditions, and also, of course, lower our risk of getting those long-term conditions. So I can work individually, I can work with groups, and I will put my information in the chat. And I made a little flyer, which I'll attempt to link in the chat. And great to be here and see everybody. So thank you very much for this opportunity to chat a little bit with everyone.
Thanks, Ernie. Great to see you again. Laura?
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Laura from Include NYC. We have some workshops coming up this month. On March 21st, we have What is an IEP for families of preschool students. On the 23rd, we have What is an IEP for families of school-age students. And then on March 27th, we also have special education mediation for families. So I'll be putting the links to those events in the chat. So those who are interested can check them out and register. They're all free and remote. And then I'll also put in the number to our helpline. So for those who are unfamiliar, we do have a helpline that families and professionals and young people can call into. We provide information and support with navigating the special education process, as well as securing services outside of school. So families, professionals, young people who have questions about that and need a little bit of guidance as to what their options are, the helpline is a really wonderful resource. So I'll post that all in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Laura. Paola?
Good morning, all. Good morning, Kathy. Nice being back. Paola Jordan with Synergia and the Metropolitan Parent Center. I want to advertise that we have an event at the end of the month on that Saturday. We're going to have a workshop on March 28th from 11 to 12. And this is specifically the target audience is transition age youth, is any youth ages 14 and up who are in the process of transitioning. We are going to be working with them and motivating to take an active role on their IEP. Something very important, especially that now we're going through parent-teacher conferences and IEPs. So I think it's a great opportunity for youth and for the families to encourage them to participate on their IEPs. On a personal note, this comes from the inspiration that we're going through that process at home right now with the twins. Many of you guys know I'm also a parent. Today they're turning 18. So everything that we have learned here is falling in place, but it's been hard. I have to say that, but I'm happy to report that we conquered this, and I'm counting the days that they're going to be over with DOE, but that's just me. It's been hard. And we're trying to bring all those experiences, and hopefully we can motivate more youth to be more active and present at their IEPs. We also have family reimbursement funds and special education advocacy for Manhattan families. If they need assistance with someone going with them to their IEPs, we can do that. Our special education specialists are fully bilingual English and Spanish, but we can also provide support if the family speaks any other language. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paola. I can't believe they're 18.
That makes us too. When I did the testimony in the Manhattan DD Council, they were 6 or 7. We were talking about early intervention back in the day at Barnes and Nobles. Silent tear. We made it.
Congratulations. Pat?
Good morning, everyone. Pat Liu, Family Support Coordinator. Yes, GHO has fund available for goods and service. Yeah, please come apply. If you're a care manager, please help family to reach out. And our family support service included case management. That service is help the family who are new to the system. We provide information and referral and language to other service. Eventually, we want to get them into one of the CCO that they want to join. And we have a capacity to serve families speak in Korean or Chinese. For waiver service, we have Daycare Without Wall and job training program and ComHap. So please share this resource and bring it to the people. And I will share my contact information on the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Welcome.
Paola?
Good morning, everyone. Paola Martinez Boone, the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. Glad to see everyone. Just want to remind everyone that the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest is a legal nonprofit organization. We represent people with disabilities in many areas, including special education as well. So if you have families with adults, kids with disabilities, and they have a legal issue, please feel free to share our main number. I'm going to put that number and the link to our agency in the chat. At minimum, if we're not the right agency, we always provide referrals to other nonprofits. So thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Any other announcements? I do have two things, just general council related. First of all, the 5 borough DD councils held their annual legislative event back on March 6th. We did change the format this year, and we had 5 different panel discussions with participation from legislators as well as self-advocates and family members as well. So I know that there was a survey that was put out and hopefully people got that. But I did also want to see if anybody had feedback, particularly on the new format, just general impressions, and see what we can plan to do next year, either differently or the same. So any general comments, feedback?
Can I talk? Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I was in on the plan, on the new format, but I thought it was just a wonderful breath of fresh air instead of same old, same old. And I honestly think that we as a council, and we as the 5 boroughs, and we as any organization we belong to, need to do that, need to change up things to engage people. We're in little boxes again, and it's the only way that we can get a large audience. However, we have to figure out how to meet and have and make these meetings more personable the way they used to be. I'm not saying we go backwards, but going out for lunch after this meeting or for coffee was the way we all became engaged. And it's true for all of these things. So if we just think of whatever you did for the last 20 years, try to make it different. And that's all I think we were doing with the 5 borough. Did we succeed? I think we did. I think it was the first time the legislators were engaged.
Yeah, they definitely were much more engaged. And it wasn't just the legislators speaking about bills that they had, proposed or passed over the past year, but it also got them speaking and actually listening and an ongoing dialogue on some of the issues, with the people we support and their families. So as far as having in-person legislative events, I do know that Staten Island was the only borough that managed to get an in-person legislative event this season. They actually have always had a very strong connection with their legislative and advocacy committee, with their local representatives. Brooklyn tried to do it as well as Queens. We had looked into it, but finding space in Manhattan was a tough obstacle for us to overcome. I know we're meeting today virtually. We are doing hybrid for the most part. I will tell you that our meeting next month will definitely be hybrid with an in-person location at AHRC. So we've got the space for that. But any other comments, feedback on the legislative event? If you did receive the survey, please take a minute or two and just provide any feedback so that we can use that to implement going forward for the next ones. The other general council announcement is we do have a date for our annual Family and Professional Resource Fair, and it will be held on Tuesday, May 12th. And once again, we will be at the CUNY Graduate Center. So definitely more information coming very shortly for that. But just put it on your calendars and save the date for May 12th. Any other announcements then? Then I don't know if Brianna is here for any city updates.
Yes, I'm here. But
Hey, Brianna.
hi, but we have no updates today.
Okay, thanks. OPWDD updates, Contessa or Sam?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I do have a couple of things to talk about. So first, I want to start off talking about employment first. Most of you are aware that in 2024, Governor Hochul, Kathy Hochul, signed a executive order, the Employment First Executive Order 40. And the New York State Chief Disability Officer is responsible for coordinating the Employment First initiatives statewide. So with Employment First, the principle is that we require that employment be considered as the first option and preferred outcome when planning and delivering services for people with developmental disabilities across New York State, which is great because we want individuals to have the opportunity to work and earn money. It increases their independence and self-esteem. So the Developmental Disabilities Council, also known as DDAC, recommended that OPWDD develop a comprehensive graphic or a roadmap that would try to lay out options for moving from school, day services, vocational to employment. The DDAC recommended that a guide be located on our website, so on the OPWDD website, and also have printable materials available to people with developmental disabilities, also the care managers, families, providers, everyone that's a part of the team. So the recommendation does align with the Employee First principles, and so OPWDD took it and ran with it. So as of January of this year, OPWDD rolled out Steps to Employment. So it's a web page. It's on our website. I'm going to put it in the chat. The web page describes employment process. And in many ways, the employment path is, of course, the same as it is for anybody, regardless if you have developmental disabilities and you're looking for a job. No one has the exact same experience when they're looking for a job, but this is a really great way to really help individuals, figure out how they can, become employed. So really excited about that. Again, we'll drop that in the chat for you. Next, I want to talk about some updates. So OPWDD has done some updates on their website, and I will drop that link as well so that you can go check out these changes. So first is the family resource page. We have a new family resource page, and it's going to help families navigate services and find supports. So please take a look at that. We're really trying to improve how people are able to figure out how to, get resources more easily by going to our website. And then we also have some updates with the housing page. So we updated our housing page. We have more information, and it's more clear guidance on different housing options. We want to make sure people understand what the difference is between the different options available to them, so they can make better informed decisions. And this information is available in plain language, which basically is, we want to make sure it's very clear, very transparent, and easy for people to be able to grasp. We also have some changes with our employment page, because employment first. So this has the steps to employment, and it does have printable resources. So again, we're focusing a lot on employment first for individuals. So we want to make sure they know how to go about it in their team, the support team. And then last but not least,
Contessa, you're muted.
I'm so sorry, that was my
I'm
fault. I
sorry.
muted the wrong person.
Oh, that's okay. I have a feline, and she started making some noises. And with Front Door, we have great news, because we have the Front Door has video modules now in all the 12 languages, main 12 languages down in New York City. So now when you go to the Front Door page, you can click and find information about the process in all the languages. So that's really exciting. So just wanted to let you know that. And I'm gonna, again, pop that in the chat for you. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Contessa. Ellie?
Okay, this is a knee-jerk reaction, and those of you who know me know that it's coming. What are you guys smoking? Honest to God, really? Who do you think you're serving? It's great. It's a great philosophy that we should give our kids and the people you serve every opportunity that they can do. But you need to recognize that it's not a large, that not everyone can. And you haven't recognized the fact that you haven't answered the questions about housing yet, and residential care, and aging. So what happens to these people? You put out that everyone, in order to get a residential placement, you need to try every option, but you haven't told us what those options are. And I'm certain, absolutely positive, that the recommendation for employment first doesn't answer those questions either. Now, I know, my girl would love to go out and try a job for about an hour, and then she'd want her group back and the camaraderie of all that, which is the same issue as with, I'm ranting, but Sam, go back and ask these questions. Really, they're not feasible. Take a look at the population and see what's going on. This is not personal, Sam, right? So.
No, I understand, but I think we're trying to be responsive.
I would like to jump in.
But you're not responsive, and that's the problem. You generically.
Ellie, I would like to respond to that, since I'm the one that was giving the report. First of all, I understand your frustration. I do. I hear you. I do want to make it clear, when we come to these meetings, we are bringing updates, and these updates are for everyone, and everyone is different. We have individuals who please let me finish. We do have individuals, many individuals, who want to work and who, with the right supports, are able to, and they're working throughout New York State. So I just want to make it clear that when we come to these meetings, we're talking about a variety of different updates, because we want to make sure that everyone is aware of the programs that are available. Now, when it comes to housing or any other issue that anyone on the committee or at the meeting has, we definitely want to address it. However, you have to let us know if there is a very specific incident or something that's directly related to something that you're going through, because we can speak to you offline and we can have that conversation. I'd be happy to speak with you, Ellie, offline about your concerns, because I do hear you and I'm not belittling them. And I understand that for certain people, certain issues are not relevant to them. But I think it's important to understand the purpose of this particular meeting is for us to share resources, right? And OPWDD is here to share resources because there's somebody that is going to benefit from the Employment First program. So if you do have a specific issue with housing or some other program, feel free. My information is in the chat. You can reach out to me directly. I will speak with you. I have no problem speaking with you.
Please
and
stop.
I will be happy to, Ellie, please. And I will be happy to, if this committee would like to have someone from the different units, and we do have people that are coming from the different units, they're scheduled for this year. If you have a particular area that you want someone from OPWDD to address, then we can do that. I can have someone from housing speak to housing. You can ask questions. But again, we can't speak to everyone's specific need at this meeting. So again, I'm offering you the opportunity to speak with me directly, because I do appreciate that you're using this forum to get out, you know, the things that you're speaking about. And I understand venting, but I just want to make sure you understand that when I come to this meeting, when Sam comes to this meeting, we really are coming to provide updates, right? And if there's anything else, we can take it offline. I'd be happy to speak with you afterward.
Clearly, you don't know me. I do not speak for myself. I know how to advocate for my own daughter. I am speaking in a much larger advocacy role as co-chair of this committee, as co-founder of NYC Fair, as I've been around the block. I am not speaking for my Katie. I am speaking for all the people whose needs you are not addressing. And we meet with Willow regularly. And I don't know you and you don't know me, clearly. So I'm done and that's it. And I'm sure I'm not alone in my angst.
Yes. Contessa, I think you bring up a good point. And I think one of the things that we will do going forward is look to have at one of our upcoming meetings, someone from the Housing and Capacity Management come directly to this meeting and kind of share some of the current changes or recent changes within the CROW process, but also to address some of the ongoing concerns and frustrations that families have in accessing the housing supports.
Absolutely, we can do that. Yeah. And I do hear you, Ellie, that you're advocating for everyone, and I appreciate that. So please understand that I hear you, and I appreciate that.
Paula?
I also have a housing question. It's regarding housing subsidy ADM. It looks like the ADM is gonna change. Do you have any information when that's gonna happen? Is it soon? Is it in the works? Or any updates regarding that?
Unfortunately, I do not have any updates to share with you, but of course, as soon as I get something, we will share it with you.
Thank you.
Paula?
Thank you, Kathy. And I'm gonna go back a little bit about the point that Ellie is trying to make here, Contessa. First of all, nice to meet you. It's my first time interacting and meeting you here in this space. I think that the frustration comes that it's appreciated the offer to have a one-to-one conversation, but I think that the main issue is that this is a systemic issue. It's a way that not all parents or legal guardians of people with intellectual developmental disabilities are going to have the same information, the same access to deal with their personal situation. I don't know who has the mic open. Anyhow, the problem is that in the job that I do here at Synergia with the Parent Center, we're specifically working with transition age youth. You're mentioning all the updates, which I received in the email about the new resources that you have for families on their website. That's great. But the issue is that not everybody has access to website and is tech savvy, believe it, in 2026. And when we're thinking about coming to this meeting, I'm personally interested to hear about what happened in New York City, not necessarily what's happening in the state. That doesn't help my clients at all. There's nothing to do with my clients. So when we come and we say there's a few, I want to hear concrete data. What are we talking about? I want to hear X amount of people are accessing the services out of the whole number that are applying for that. That is going to really put things into perspective about who is clearly benefiting from the services. The other part is that when we are working with families, transition age youth, again, age 14 and up, I have never seen a really good transition IEP where people from OPWDD, this means CCOs, are actively participating and actively informing families about possible outcomes for their youth once they reach 21. Synergia has the benefit. We have the privilege that we have the Parent Center and we have a Day Hub program. And when I ask parents, do you know what is a Day Hub program? Your child or your youth, is eligible for OPWDD services, District 75, most likely that this is a possible outcome for them. And they look at me like I'm speaking in a different language. It's like, what are you talking about? And I say, you know what, say less. Let's gonna stop the class and I take the clients downstairs for them to see what is a Day Hub program. This concrete information, I haven't seen it anywhere. When we are seeing that this is clearly explained to families and legal guardians and what are the rights and responsibilities. I haven't heard no one saying, this is how you can schedule to visit a Day Hub program. This is how you can choose a Day Hub program. This is how you can connect the program. This is who makes the decision if this is the right thing for your loved one or not. All that information I think is missing, and it's positive that it's going to be on the website. But my recommendation for you is, I hope that moving forward, you guys come to us. When I say you, it's OPWDD. Come to CBOs that were doing the work the same way that you did with the front door videos, because Synergia was the one who participated for the Spanish ones. I was the one doing the project for 2 years, and we provide comments. And I would love to see a video explaining for families exactly what this means and how it looks like and how access it, because it's not happening. And just the last point that I want to say, the families that we serve here in Synergia are the most vulnerable, mostly Spanish-speaking families. And it's really hard. We're working with the bare minimum in terms of trying to bring this information to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Again, I hear you. And again, with this meeting, the information that we bring really is update for local, state. It depends on, the update at the time. And again, I would ask that if you have specific challenges or issues that you feel are not being addressed, you can definitely reach out to me individually. We can have more of a conversation so I can have a better understanding of some of the things you're looking for. And then I will definitely bring that back up to leadership. So I have my information in the chat. So please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be able to solve all the concerns you have, because, it's a team. It takes all of us to, make sure that we're analyzing what's going on and what we can provide. But I do want you to know that you can reach out to me directly and we can have a further conversation. I will take back the comment regarding also access to website. We know everyone is not tech savvy. That's an excellent point. And I know that there's a desire to see data. Obviously, I can only provide what is shared with me. But I understand that as well. So, but feel free to reach out to me. We can have a further conversation.
Thanks. Wendy?
Hello, Contessa. Lovely seeing you again. Um, I just wanted to say I did look at the updated OPWDD page on the eligibility review process. I do like how it's designed, just some feedback there. I do want to say it still seems like like a lot of condensed heavy information for a person that's new to the system. I remember, or maybe this was like a fever dream I had at one point, but I thought that I had seen like a checklist of some sort at one point, several years back for families to kind of check off where they were handed in this document, next document kind of thing. Does anyone recall if that was a thing or was I just dreaming it up? And if so, if it wasn't a thing, could it be a thing? Because the fact sheet's great, but if you look at it, it's so word heavy. It's just overwhelming. I can only think of someone who's new to this kind of this is a new language, right, for people when they start off. So seeing all this information, the notice of decision, the DDRO, the different assessments and so on, it can be a lot. So I wondered if there could be even a more simplified sort of checklist that could be developed by OPWDD to help parents.
Yeah. One of the things I'll say, I don't know about the checklist. If Sam has heard of that, she can jump in. But one thing I will say is, I'll definitely take it back. But I do want to just remind that the care manager is the one that is responsible for working with individuals to help them with that process. And they are the ones that are working directly with the parent to make sure that they're getting these different documents, right? So it's really their responsibility, and they're trained to be able to help parents understand what it is that they need. What is this document? What does that mean? So I know, because obviously when you're new to something, you're like, what is this, right? But it really is the care manager's role to walk the families through and to make sure they're understanding that. But I'll definitely bring back what you said.
Well, I know that's the dream, but the reality is there's a staffing challenge with a care managers keeping a care manager for several months working with the same family as they go through this process, because this process is several months long. As much as we've wanted to streamline the process for people, they do get lost in the process. Part of it is, the care manager may have changed roles, may have left their job. It they don't officially have like a camera because they're not necessarily enrolled. So there's a lot of different factors, right? And I believe in making people accountable for their own things. I'm sure that many parents, many people want to say, no, I want to take charge. I have the ability to do this. I can read, I can get online. I just need to better understand what I'm reading. And so with that in mind, I just wondered if there was something to at least make this more more easy to digest than the standard language that is always used with OPWDD. So that's just a little feedback. Maybe it'll lead to something, maybe it won't. But I just wanted to mention that. And in terms of the focus on employment, I mean, there's no one size fits all, right? I understand this about the different services available. I just wondered, what kind of information, what kind of activities or something is OPWDD or the DDROs taking on to assist with that? Like, would you be open to putting together an event where there's connections made between provider agencies that provide these services and, companies within New York City or different regions because there's a lot of challenge with that, right? There's a lot of challenge with providing support to people with IDD who are looking for employment. And then there's a lot of disconnect between the general public and how these how people can be employed through their companies, right? The kind of support that these programs provide and so on. And so if OPWDD can function as a bridge for that would be great. So I'm wondering just what kind of support is available
That's a
to.
good question. So with Employment First, first of all, it's for those who want to be employed. You have to want to be employed. So that's very important. Again, all of this is very specific to the individual's person-centered. So for those who are interested in being employed, then the Employment First initiative is for them. It's not the only thing that OPWDD is focusing on, but it's one of the opportunities available to our individuals who want to be employed. So with the initiative, there are already employment programs that are in place. Then they're set up to help individuals from the very beginning of their journey in terms of training to actually receiving a job. And all of those programs are set up in a way to help the individuals get jobs that meet their interests as well as their skill set, right? So those things are already in place. So I would encourage you to, and for anyone that's interested, to go look at the website, because we do have the Employment First initiative. We have the employment link so that you can go and look and see, the different opportunities. So there's already something in place to help the families and the individuals who are interested in that to get what they need, right? So in terms of like an event, that's something that, particular provider agencies or particular, maybe different boroughs may decide they want to, do something and collaborate with OPWDD, but OPWDD really is not the provider, right? So that's something that, is pretty much baked into these different programs. You have people who are trained employment counselors, and, they have relationships with the community, right? So they're able to, work with the community to get these individuals employment. So I just would encourage you to, look at that and see what's available.
I definitely understand. And yes, there are a lot of provider agencies that provide this kind of support and do work to set up community engagement. It is a two-part process, right? The provider agency provides the support to the individual to get them to a point where employment is possible, and then providing support while employed. But there's also like you said, community engagement, making these connections. It just seems like a lot for the provider agency. I do understand, and I've heard this from OPWDD before, this is why we provide you with contracts and funding and grants, and completely understand that as someone who's running her own program, contractual obligations. But there's something to be said about having the weight of a government agency behind you to give more weight to something than just having a nonprofit organization going out there and trying to make these connections. There's just something to be said about it. So I just wondered if there could be some conversation about that, how can we work together more in order to be able to reach these goals as opposed to just leaving it to the provider agency, because I feel like OPWDD should be there for not only to provide guidelines, but also to provide some kind of support, connections if possible, even, sitting down and throwing around some ideas. How can we improve this? Just my opinion, as someone who has been working in this field for a few years. Just more collaboration is really I think could benefit everyone all around. So just looking for ways to do that, really. Hope
Yeah,
that made
thank
sense
you,
to everyone.
Wendy. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that again, you know, reach out to me directly. I'd love to speak with you more on it. One thing I will say, you know, OPWDD is, you know, has already placed their weight and support behind these initiatives. So you do have our support, right? Because we're always thinking about ways to bring services and to support the provider. So we're here to support you. So if you have ideas of things that you want and you feel like we can support you, you know, if there's a fair, we're there. We go to the fairs. We are here to support you, right? So if you do have ideas, you're welcome to, you know, share it with us. I can't you know, guarantee that everything will be, you know, put into place, but you do have our full support because we are behind this and we are funding these programs because they are important. So you do have a direct line, you know, to OPWDD. But again, it is the role of the provider, you know, who has these contracts to take this and to, you know, utilize the resources and work with the community because you guys know your community, right? You're in the community, and you do have individuals who are trained, and that's their role, is to really go out there and to help the individuals. So where we can support you more, we will, but we definitely do support you.
And I think we definitely feel that support. It's more of a instead of behind, would you please walk shoulder to shoulder, kind of, you know, in making sure that I think there's a bit of a disconnect in terms of how families understand this, of, you know, the guidelines and the way that certain things are set up, how it comes from OPWDD down through the provider agency and to the families. And I guess I'm thinking more of that disconnect and how we can close it up. But yes, Contessa, I'll definitely reach out and have a more clear explanation for you when I reach out in terms of vision or hope of how things could be in the future.
Thanks, Wendy.
Sure can.
Anything else? And Contessa, thank you so much for, you know, I know these meetings are not always the easiest, and you come to us with information and updates, and there are a lot of significant concerns still out there, and some of the frustration is that these are the same concerns and frustrations that families have had for decades. And we see changes that at times seem very incremental. And I do think that we have a shared vision. I just think that sometimes how we get there and how we're going and the path that we're on seems to be very different. But thank you.
Kathy, I'm sorry to interrupt, Kathy. Before Contessa leaves, just a quick follow-up comment in terms of the website and connecting the dots with what Wendy is sharing right now, because we know the community that we're working with. I think that it will be a good idea if you can bring this back to the Hires app at OPWDD. That a good way to make this website and the family resources in terms of the eligibility process more accessible to families is to create the checklist. It used to exist. Previously, CBOs used to do their own work. It's a tool for us to really support the clients. And I respectfully disagree. It's not just the CCOs explaining families how to access services. With all due respect, we're doing that work. And I personally, at the Parent Center, I'm not even compensated to do it. we see the need and we are bringing this information to families. And last fall, we have a public forum here with Commissioner Bear when she was new in the job. They clearly approached Synergia. We brought families, and she heard all of this and much more in terms of CCOs waiting 2 years to provide services to some of their families. And unfortunately, you see those families here in Synergia. So there is a break in information, and that's when we come into place. And we're trying to explain this to the families, and it's so dense and so difficult that if you guys can go back and create this checklist in the at least 12 languages that we have in New York State, it's a step in the right direction that is not going to cost you guys that much money, and it can be easily implemented, and we don't have to wait a whole new year of advocacy and investing time in something that is achievable. So this is my comment to you in terms of how we can make this more accessible to families to understand about how to access OPWDD services. Thank you, and my apologies, Kari.
Thanks. And that checklist did exist. And I haven't delved deep into the new part of the website, but I will, because it may still be there, just in another place. Okay, moving on. Like to welcome IAC with their update, and also to welcome and introduce IAC's latest staff member, Joe Medler. Kate or Joe?
I'm gonna do the report today, if that's okay, and then Joe, actually, let's start with Joe. Joe, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe. I'm the Vice President of Adult Services here at IAC. Started 4 weeks ago tomorrow, I think. So very early on. I have spent 20 years working in the OPWDD system through organizations on the operations side here in the city, between AHRC for about half that time and YAI for about the next half. In the last 10 years or so, I've been working in New Jersey's system, working with residential and day program services and organizations providing those. I'm excited to be here. I do see some familiar faces. It's been a long time since I've been here, but I do see some familiar names, and I'm happy to be back and working with all of you.
We're so excited Joe is here, and if there's anything you don't understand today, reach out to Joe. He'll put his email in the chat. And also I'll put my email in there too, but Joe really is full of knowledge and insight and information. So I know that he would really welcome your email. So Joe, again, great to have you. And I'm sure you'll be seeing more of him on the Manhattan Council meeting. So to do an overview of just super high level, to let folks know that we're actually waiting on the federal skinny budget in the midst of, all of our state budget news, which we'll get into momentarily. Every year during this, during the first week of February, actually, the administration puts out their president's budget, and that requests money from Congress for the following year. Traditionally, it's an opportunity for the administration to lay out its priorities and state publicly what programs and activities it wants to invest in and which it wants to cut. And of course, as we saw all last, spring into summer, Congress doesn't have to accept what's in the budget request, but legislators use it as a tool to set funding levels for agencies and assess the status of government programs. So the fiscal 2027 appropriations process has already kicked off. Appropriators are waiting for the president's budget, and we understand that it could come out in the next few weeks. So we're keeping an eye on that. And just a reminder that OBBA or HR1 included several modifications to Medicare, Medicaid, and all of that is keeping HHS and everyone on their toes. But 2027's budget could still ask Congress to modify existing entitlement programs. And so just keeping an eye on efforts to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse, payment accuracy, price transparency, and enacting aspects of the president's great healthcare plan, which I'm not sure if anyone has reviewed. I have not, but I can post that in the chat for folks to take a look at. specific legislative proposals in the previous budget requests have become law, so the administration could use this budget as an opportunity to put more options on the legislative menu for Congress to consider moving forward. In general, as we pull back and we really focus on the state budget and then the city budget as well, IAC is keeping an eye on this process. We urge you also to, begin to turn your eye to that process. There's going to be more to advocate for this year. There's more conversations that'll be needed to help legislators understand the impact of the president's proposals on the IDD community. Last year, a lot of special education programs, I see New York Deafblind Collaboratives is in there as well. A lot of our colleagues who provide tremendous parent training programs were threatened, and through tremendous advocacy to legislators, all of those programs were included and their structure was also maintained. But it's going to be year after year that we are reaffirming the value of these programs. So more to come. So for the state budget process, just an update, the mothership has landed in Albany. It's the general conference. It's the leaders of both the conferences of the Senate and Assembly, and the GOP, the Democrats. No real news. The mini motherships meetings are today, and those are the individual, the leaders who represent their individual committees. No real news. They started meeting them yesterday, the General Budget Conference Committee. That's what the mothership actually is. There's no real news there. Just to mention that in terms of the budget being on time, how much time do we have to advocate? The news today is keep advocating. There's still time. Negotiations are ongoing. Stuart Cousins said, "We always like to have an on-time budget, but as I've always said, the better budget is more important than an on-time budget." So they've got 2 weeks to figure it out. Subcommittees are meeting today and tomorrow, and that's it. Budget's due April 1st. Keep advocating, and I'm going to include in the chat the link to our OneClick, and that we would urge everyone, please, to continue to reach out to the legislators. Through all of your efforts, we've sent more than almost 1,400 letters to our lawmakers in Albany, and just want to thank everyone for that effort. We're clearly making an impact. We got to keep going. So for the state, the One House budgets were released early last week on March 10th. I was going to do a brief overview, Kathy, if that's okay. I'm not sure what you were planning on doing it later in the meeting, and I can leave off if you wanted to go over that.
Nope, go ahead, Kate.
Okay. So state One House budgets were released early last week on March 10th. That's the individual houses, the Senate and the Assembly, their responses to the executive's proposal at the end of January. The big picture is more money for providers were recommended by both the Senate and the Assembly. They agree for the most part on a 4% funding increase, and that's what that OneClick again is asking for. It's it's not a COLA, it's a targeted inflationary increase. I think we've all had that tattooed across our foreheads at this point. It's really in addition to ensure that our frontline staff receive increases that they deserve and need. Although I think we all agree that they deserve more. It's also to help our agencies keep up with rising costs and in year of tremendous inflation, starting April 1st, 2026 is when it would be implemented. So number one, pay raises for staff. The Senate and Assembly have different ideas about how they want to allocate that. Senate says at least 1.3% of that 4% that they recommend should go to salary increases. The Assembly is more generous. They require at least 2.3% to go toward the raises. So we'll see where it lands. Right now, again, continue to advocate, please, because initially the governor had proposed 1.7%. We've got to get that number up. Who gets a raise? Assembly went into detail about who would qualify, and it would be primarily DSPs. It would also include clinicians and frontline workers. And it would specifically exclude, which everyone understands and agrees, CEOs, top-level executives, the 600 and 700s codes. It also included in the One House support for independent living. Senate specifically wants to make sure that independent living centers get a similar funding boost. The Assembly did not mention that, so it would be a negotiation point. And on schools, the Senate is trying to bridge the gap between SED and OPWDD by requiring the two agencies, and I know this came up earlier, to work together on funding for independent living centers and also on transition. There's not a lot of clarity around some of the governor's proposed transition initiatives, so we're working to get more of an understanding on that now, but there are meetings coming up even later this month, so we'll have more. What's missing? Neither house included the Care Force proposals. A lot of that was, the housing initiatives and a number of other initiatives to make life more affordable here in New York State and New York City. And so that is also part of our One Click. We continue to advocate for it, but it's looking like a real long shot to an impossibility at this point. For early intervention, the Senate added 13 million. There was not a percentage tied to that, and the Assembly added. There's actually some conflict in the language of the budget. There's budget summary, and then there's budget language. There are the bills, and so in one place it says 18 million, which would be a 5% increase. But the appropriations included 11.5, so we recommend kind of going with the 11.5 until we have confirmation of what was specifically included. State Ed, Senate has included a number of proposals that were requested and supported by IAC and CP State. And we want to thank everyone for their advocacy to the legislators continuously for the past couple months on these issues, for for coming up to Albany, for having those meetings. It really made a difference for the, to the DD councils and the legislative town hall. Just all of those things really had an impact, for sure, especially in a tough budget year. Again, these are not in the budget yet, but they were included in at least the Senate's one house. So they recommended $15 million to increase support for a program called Excessive Teacher Turnover Prevention to help us keep our certified special education teachers, and $15 million for a new direct care support turnover prevention program for all of those other, teachers' aides, one-to-one aides, social workers, school psychologists, speech, OT, and PT therapists. That would be in addition to the $8 million that's already included. There's also $30 million to include capital needs at 853 schools, and we'll go into that. There was a call to the executive to provide additional local assistance to districts to extend eligibility for FAPE 22. This is also in line with the law and with a recommendation from the regents. Again, we would continue to advocate for that. That impacts everyone. That's statewide. So there will be action at some point on this. If it's not done through funding, it'll ultimately be a lawsuit. Okay. And there was a statement in support of increasing tuition rates for special act schools. 853s are school age special education programs, and 4410s the preschool special education programs. There are, later I'll put it in the chat, there are two upcoming, here in New York City, there are two upcoming hearings, an oversight hearing and budget hearings on priorities for the coming fiscal year. And we would encourage folks to think about either testifying in person, virtually, or submitting testimony. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's also going to be important for our local preschool special education programs in particular. On OPWDD, just a reminder that there was a National Core Indicators Child Family Survey that OPWDD announced last week or the week before. They're seeking 400 parents and guardians of children 17 and younger to take a voluntary survey and share their experiences. And we would really encourage families to do that, just like we heard today. There are a lot of perspectives on the accessibility of different services, and especially for, we understand older folks here, but also for our younger youth with disabilities. So that is, I can put that information in the chat. Or Joe, if you want to drop that in, I'm not sure if you are able to drop that in, but if you are, great. If not, I'll drop that in momentarily. We spoke about the ADMs, I believe. The QIDP, SAP ADM revisions should be released within weeks. Other upcoming ADMs are the FI ADM, the Housing Subsidy ADM, and a DQI memo on Jonathan's Law notifications. On the prior property approval process, checklist. The revised checklist is now available. Training for providers will be on 3/24, and that will go through it in detail. Previously submitted projects will not be subject to the new letter of interest rules, and if projects are not at the PPA stage, they may be subject to the new rules. EMODS, the new Home Enabling Supports Program, came out of a broader effort to help people live at home. In the next few weeks, the program will be fully available to people, and OPWDD is strengthening the foundation of the EMOD and VMOD approval process. So there'll be a comprehensive procedure manual with forms and templates ready by the end of March. Capacity management, and I'm almost there. Delays in the rollout of phase 2 and 3 due to obstacles encountered in phase 1, due to IT complexities, delayed the rollout of phase 2 and 3. So while delayed, progress continues to be made, and the project will be moving forward. Okay, so I will put information about testifying. There is a City Council education budget hearing taking place on March 23rd. I believe the hearing begins at 9:30. All of the agencies will testify. Agencies and major stakeholders will testify first. Public testimony is scheduled to begin at 2:30. It will go well into the evening. We understand certainly people cannot necessarily dedicate that amount of time. For those who can, please do. If you testify in person, they'll call on you before anyone who's testifying virtually. And otherwise, you can submit testimony, written testimony, up to 72 hours afterward. Our concerns are really huge around the impact to our special education providers and clinicians and one-to-one aides and teachers' assistants due to the universal childcare rollout. So as 2K and 3K roll out here in New York City, which is a wonderful and important initiative, it continues to squeeze the available workforce and staff who are providing services and who we've been asking for equity for in terms of their funding and for their raises and benefits for years. Our students with disabilities certainly deserve qualified, well-paid providers. We want the city and state to take that into consideration and to ensure that our providers are well and fairly compensated before they roll out or as they roll out these new initiatives. So we really need to reinforce that with our city council reps, with the chairs of the committee in particular. If you know Eric Dinowitz, or would like to testify, reach out to your local council member and let them know this is important to you. And also there will be an oversight hearing on the early child care educator workforce on April 15th. And we'll be back to tell you more about that, but also you could register for that as well. That's about it. There's 2 upcoming IEC events. One is our conference on June 10th and 11th, and Education Lobby Days are on May 5th. That's it. If there's any questions.
Thanks, Kate. Margaret?
Yeah, hi, Kate. Is there an update on the position paper with the 4% on it?
It's there. It is in the chat, and there was conversation, and I appreciate the question. There was initially the consensus was around continuing to ask for 2.7, at least 2.7%, right? The consistency was key, and there was, a conversation about should we go for the 4%? Yes, we wanted to say thank you for the 4%, and then also continue to ask for at least 2.7%. That language was revised over the weekend. So yesterday we rolled out a new one-click, and at this point we're asking for the full 4%.
I tried using the one-click that you sent in there, and I could not submit it. It was stuck.
Do you want to? Can somebody else try and let me know? We've sent almost 1,400, so
I did
know
it.
It could be me.
Yeah, I did it late yesterday afternoon, and it was fine. Just a question on the one-click, Kate. Can we resubmit that every day? Or
Yes.
is it one and done?
You can resubmit it every day.
That's what I thought. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Good question. Okay, I'll put a couple of these things in the chat that I mentioned, and look forward to seeing you next month.
Oh,
Or Jay will.
Kate, it worked. Smart.
Oh, great. Yay.
I tried again. Sorry.
Otherwise, I was seeing the rest of my day fall into figuring that out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kate. We'll move on to committee reports. Mary or Jackie, Manhattan Family Support Service Advisory Council.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk about local, and Mary will do state. We had a very successful meeting on February 24th. We had a dentist who is also a sibling of an adult with severe autism do a presentation on dentistry. It was very, very well received by our families. She talked about improving oral hygiene, what you could do at home, about how to make dental visits more successful. And we got very, very positive feedback. Also, we are co-sponsoring with the Transition Committee guardianship workshop. Tell me if I'm right. 2 parts, April 21st and April 28th. The second part will be the hands-on.
22nd and 29th.
29th. I knew it didn't sound right. It'll be a hands-on workshop in person where people will have assistants going through the pages of guardianship one by one. So that has been really successful in the past, and we're looking forward to it in the future. Mary?
Hi, everybody. Jackie got those dates wrong just because we usually do everything on Tuesdays, not Wednesdays. But
All right, so what are the correct dates, just so
we are doing it on Wednesday, the 22nd and Wednesday, the 29th. But
that's my tax season brain. Sorry, everybody.
So, all right, before I start, I want to just thank Ellie and Paola for your strong voices for families. It means a lot to me and the families that Jackie and I work with. My favorite saying is, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And I really do appreciate that. Okay, so that was my motherly little thing. So on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, we had our quarterly FSS meeting in Albany, which is an open meeting, and it's broadcasted on a total webcasting site called WebEx. They have 5 central sites for people to go to, and people can sign in from their homes to attend these meetings. OPWDD has decided to, because of a change in open laws, that they no longer really have to do this. And so they're going back to still keeping quarterly meetings, but they will just have the FSS statewide reps meeting at 44 Holland, most likely once every quarter. The details have not really been worked out, so I will get back to you. There has been a discussion if it could be similar to this, like both in person and some people, calling in, not calling in, but viewing it. But there won't be central sites, and it won't be a webcasting thing. Their DDAC will, report on our FSS committee. So that was people. There's mixed feelings about it, but we're excited to try it again. That was the first thing the commissioner said at our meeting. The second was the RFP. So believe it or not, tentative award letters have been sent out for our RFP process. However, we still remain in the restricted period, which means we cannot discuss details on the procurement yet. More details to follow. And the third thing was we are in very big open discussions about the RFP ADM for family reimbursement. The ADM came out in 2022. In 2024, they made amendments to the allowable and non-allowable list, and we're going to do that again this year. But in order to make any kind of suggestions on the ADM and the allowable list, Jackie and I are going to need not just Manhattan, but all boroughs to be in touch with us so we can go back to statewide and say, what do we need for our families to be put back on the allowable list? They are saying that there's no general consensus that they can come up with of things being not allowed. One, for instance, one I do see is the autism-friendly performances that TDF puts out for our families. We're trying to put that ticket price on the allowable list. Again, just for the individual, not for the individual's person who has to go with them. But things like that. So I earlier put Jackie and our email and our phone number in the chat. Please email with us with your thoughts, call us with your thoughts. The more we work together, the more we can help spend this family reimbursement money. And again, if we don't use it, we might lose it. Oh, and final note on Wednesday's meeting, I shared a success story on housing advocacy in regards to thanks to Wendy DeLeon and her story. And I called him Michael and his family who were in rent arrears. And because of a housing advocate through the FSS contract that ADAPT has, they were all willing to solve their problems. And it was a nice story. But and that's all I have.
Jackie?
I just wanted to add that I ditto what Mary said to Ellie and Paola. It's we've been talking about the same issues for so long, and as someone who's going through housing right now, it's so incredibly difficult. Getting on the Crow list is hard. Finding out what you need to do to prove that you should be on the Crow list is hard. So I really appreciate you guys standing up for that. I also wanted to reiterate what Mary said about the reimbursement. During contract reviews, it came up with one of the agencies that someone had applied for a week of computer camp for their child who was in between school sessions. And because initially it wasn't a certified New York State camp, they denied it. But then Steve from OPWDD actually went back and explained that it was necessary recreation and what the benefits were, and they did approve it. So even if somebody has something that initially was declined, you really should bring it up to Mary and I, because there are possibilities of working around it. Thanks.
But we won't know until you tell us, so make sure you tell us.
Thanks, Mary and Jackie. And thank you for continuing to be so helpful and supportive to the Manhattan families. Andrew?
Hi, everyone. Update for Manhattan Transition Committee. Last month, we held our annual Manhattan Adult Services Showcase event. The recording for that is available on YouTube now. It's a really cool snapshot of what's out there for young adults with IDD who are moving from high school into their adult lives. So we had 17 different organizations presenting about services they offer, including day hab programs, supported employment, other services. 2 of the CCOs were there. Really great starting point if that's a question on your mind of what's next after high school. I dropped a link to in the chat earlier for the YouTube recording. And as Jackie and Mary mentioned, we are co-sponsoring with Manhattan Family Support Services Advisory Council, the 2-part guardianship and future care planning series. Both of those sessions are going to be presented by Stephanie Barron from AHRC's Guardianship Services Program. Really cool thing, couple things to know. There's usually a wait list for the guardianship assistance services that AHRC does, and it can be over a year. This is kind of a way to skip a little bit of the wait and get some assistance with the petition forms for guardianship. So this is like a no-brainer. You should do this if you need this. You do need to attend both sessions, and here's why. Session 1, which is April 22nd, virtual. That one is a presentation about Article 17A guardianship and some of the alternatives. That's where you're going to learn background information and have an opportunity to get your questions answered. Part 2, there's going to be no time for questions because part 2 is going to be walking through the petition forms line by line with expert assistance. You're going to receive instructions what to write on each line. And there's not going to be time for questions with that one. So use the same Zoom registration link in the chat to register for both, and you'll get the information for both. We really hope to see you there.
And just to add a note to that, I actually did that for Nicholas's guardianship. I went page by page. then Stephanie, actually we were on the wait list also for HRC, and it's longer than a year, or at least it was then. But it's nice when someone goes through page by page and you're able to do it by yourself, you know. But just a little plug there. But it has to be in person, right, Andrew? The filling
Yeah,
out
part
forms.
2, the line by line assistance on April 29th. That's in person only at AHRC's Maiden Lane offices. The address and everything's in the chat.
And I will have food and coffee and drinks.
There was a question if it's going to be in any other language other than English.
Paula, really good question. Thank you. We don't currently have plans to offer interpretation, but that would be excellent if we had it. If you want to
Yeah.
talk more, we're definitely open to talking.
Actually, last time we did it, someone from Synergia came. What's her name came? Yeah, well, Synergia came. So we'll have that if someone needs interpretation.
Thanks, Andrew. And then our last committee report, Family and Provider Information Committee, Wendy Memwadi.
Hi, so for the Manhattan Family and Provider Information Committee, our next meeting will be in April. We are trying to finalize with the speaker his eligibility, so we don't have a set date yet. But that information will be shared with Andrew and Alana and then sent out to everyone the moment we have it. We are also looking for ideas on topics. I mean, we're putting this together for families and professionals. So please do email us with any topics that you're interested in learning more about or that you feel should get more attention. And we would be more than happy to discuss. Please email me at wdeleon@adaptcommunitynetwork.org. I'll put it in the chat as well. And we've been focusing a lot on just putting together the upcoming fair. So I won't speak too much on that, Kathy, because I don't know if you have more information to put out there. But if you don't, I can
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Kathy mentioned it, not I think, I know Kathy mentioned it earlier. The fair will be on Tuesday, May 12th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the CUNY Graduate Center. There will be pre-registration, link to follow very soon. So please keep an eye out for that. But I also wanted to mention to provider agencies for booth registration. That will be coming up hopefully by the end of this week. So if you have changed contact folks since last year, you want to make sure that you are receiving this information, please do reach out to us. Again, I will be putting my email in the chat for everyone, but I mean, you guys know us, you know, Kathy, you know, Ellie, Mary, Andrew, I saw put his email there for something else, but any one of us, you can email for information to ensure that you are on the list of the email group to make sure that you receive this information. But this I want to say to all the representatives of provider agencies that are on now. You all make up this council. You show up month after month to these meetings, to our other committee meetings. This event that we're putting together is not only for families, but also for you to have an opportunity to network with other professionals, to be able to connect with families in person. So please do help us in spreading the word about this event. Once we send out the flyer, if you can, please post about it. Please send it out to your email groups. Please do print out and put in kids' book bags for those of you that have education programs in, the bags of those folks that attend your day hab services programs. It takes, a village to put this together. And we definitely want to ensure that as many families and colleagues take advantage of this wonderful free event, where you will be given, coffee, and tea and some, I'm sure, muffins and whatnot. So please do spread the word. And if you're interested in participating and putting the event together to learn how, those steps come to play, how the decisions about workshops are made and so on, just please do let us know. Um, Typically it's the executive committee, so the co-chairs of the committees that you see. But again, you all make up this council. You all attend these meetings monthly. And so, this is really a group thing. And let's beat the other boroughs. Why not? Uh, so with that said, I'll just hand it back over to Kathy. But I just wanted to ask all of you to please help us in promoting this. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Wendy. Mary?
Yeah, if I could just piggyback off what Wendy said. Wendy, maybe you could, there's 3 different fees to get the tables, and the cheapest way to get the table is to have paid your dues as a Manhattan member of the DD Council, and I strongly recommend everybody paying their dues. They weren't being charged. I mean, I shouldn't be going into this. That's not my forte. But someone can discuss those different things for nonprofits and profits. But also, when Wendy talked about getting this out, what we really need to reach is the young families, the school-age families, the parents who just entering the system and they need another family member to guide them, because I do not know where I would be without these fellow parents. Margaret Puddington, Suzanne Williams, Ellie Ruford, I just followed them like a little duckling, and I learned so much from them. And these fairs were that resource thing is like the Bible to a parent. And if a parent doesn't know about it, they don't have it. So the more we can reach out to younger parents, the best.
Yeah.
And that's all I
have. And just to clarify, the event is free, totally free for family members, self-advocates, totally free. And it's free for providers. If you are going to have a vendor table, there is a fee for that. And there will actually be 3 different fees. One, the lowest being for members who have paid their membership dues for the Manhattan DD Council this year. The middle tier for nonprofits who are not dues paying members, and then a third higher level for for-profit vendors. So we'll have 3 different, but it is free for people to come and join and get some of the resources. We'll have 2 different workshops that we're finalizing at this point. So there'll be 2 different workshops throughout the day for people to attend and get some additional information. And one of my favorite parts of the day is that for family members from Manhattan, we have raffle drawings for cash prizes. So definitely a great day to come out and get some resources, get to meet a lot of people, see how tall or short people are in real life rather than these boxes. And get to see people once again. So hope to see everybody there. And we will definitely be having more information coming out very soon. Jackie?
What are the hours?
9 to 2.
9 to 2. Thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate what Wendy said about flyers and backpacks. It really, really is so important. We have so many providers represented here, and most of you do have schools, whether they're preschools or ongoing schools. The way I learned about, excuse me, OPWDD was from my son's backpack when he was at the Susser School, part of Birch Family Services. And I think if everybody can make sure that their education people have this flyer to give to principals, to give to backpacks, we can make a really good impact.
That's great.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Kathy, just one more thing. So I mentioned if you're interested in being part of the planning committee, but I just saw Rocio send a heart, and it reminded me, if you'd like to volunteer the day of, also please reach out to us. Rocio has done a wonderful job in the past of volunteering a nice amount of YAI people, but YAI is not the only organization here. Everyone else don't let YAI show you up. So please send your volunteers to us. There's plenty, as all of you, who I hope all of you have attended our Manhattan Fair, have seen, there's plenty to be done. Everything from just guiding folks to different tables. If you speak multiple languages, we always have parents who speak multiple languages, and it would be great to connect them with someone who also speaks multiple languages. And really just be able to guide folks throughout the process of the event. So again, if you are interested in volunteering, or if you're interested in volunteering someone for volunteering, please let us know. My email is in the chat. And again, you can reach out to Kathy Kelly, to Ellie, Mary, Jackie, any one of us, and let us know. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Ellie?
Yeah, I always have something to say. While it's great seeing everyone that we know and giving everybody a hug and saying we survived another year, it's really more important to bring in people we don't know and that we can embrace and that can then show up. And, no matter what they participate in or don't, they need the information. So if we can be the source for the information to move forward, then bring them in. And it's a great event. It's fun and it's informative, and you always learn something no matter how old you are. And I just turned 80, so we can just figure out how long I've been at this. My girl is 44.
To piggyback on what Ellie said, I think that we all take it for granted that we know what OPWDD is here. Everybody here knows, but there's so many people out there who don't. So if you just reach out to one or two people in a school, in somewhere, you'd be shocked that they don't know. We just take it for granted. Of course you should know, but so many parents don't know, and it's so vital for them. So sorry, I couldn't find my raised hand, so I apologize for jumping in.
That's okay. Thanks, Lana. Sam?
Good morning, everybody. I think sometime earlier in the meeting, there was a question about the housing subsidy ADM and if, when we anticipate the revised version going out. We did check internally with our local teams, and they indicated that there might be a draft available for public comment as early as this month. Please don't hold us to that though, but there are some progress there's some progress being made. So hopefully the draft will be available this month, sometime later this month for public comment, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Okie doke. And I think that does it for today. Again, just a reminder, our next meeting is scheduled for April 21st, and it will be hybrid with in-person location at AHRC New York City, 83 Maiden Lane, 11th floor boardroom. So we'll have that updated information on our website. And I think Andrew at least once put in the chat our website address, and a lot of good information, including the family support directory, as well as recording of previous council meetings, as well as other committee meetings. So thank you all for a very lively discussion today. And together we will make this better. So thank you all, and we'll see you next month.